It's Saturday, March 3rd, and welcome to my shop. We've got a lot of things going. I've actually asked Jerson to come in today to help because we've got a list about a mile long, and there's a lot of little things we're kind of juggling. But I want to start out by showing you what I'm doing with these chrome wheels. You remember a couple weeks ago I was whining and moaning about the problem with chrome alloy wheels, but I've cleaned these up. I want to show this to you right now. You can see I've got in here and cleaned all the corrosion off. My intent here is to come up with a kit that will allow you to take your chrome wheels and fix them so they won't leak. A lot of times you'll come in and clean up these tire bead areas and you'll get the corrosion off, and then it starts corroding again because of this problem of dissimilar metal corrosion. That's why alloy wheels don't corrode as badly and flake and peel, because you only have aluminum. But here you have chrome against aluminum, and once it starts corroding, it just grows like a fungus. And you saw that earlier, but I got in here and really cleaned these up. I mean, they're looking really good. Now I'm going to use a couple of special products to make sure, number one, the corrosion can be stopped, that it won't come back. And then the second product will be to provide extra sealing to the bead of the tire when it seats down on the rim when you put pressure to the tire. So we're going to put this to the test. We're going to do a 6-month test. But I'm going to keep working on this kit today. I've got a couple more videos I've got to shoot about this process. But for right now, I want to take you in behind the secret door over there. I know you haven't gotten to get in behind that secret door over there. That's where our machine shop is. And that's where we really goof off. If you think we goof off out here in the shop, we really goof off. No, we have to work pretty hard back in the machine shop. But you might enjoy today looking at some of the things we're working on back there and some of the things we have to do to deal with this business. But I want to show you right now, before we go back behind the secret door, I want to show you this special tool that I made. I'm sure, I know you're laughing. Oh, Kit, you're making another tool. I bet none of you have seen a 1/4-inch drive ratchet wrench with a flexible head that's this long right here. Now let me show you an example of how I use this, and you'll understand why I like it. Today I want to show you my favorite tool this week. You know, this is something I made in the shop. I took a short swivel head 1/4-inch ratchet, cut it off, and then I got a really long screwdriver and welded these together. Now you're going to say, well, Kent, that's going to give you way too much torque, and that's true. You don't want to be using this to torque screws and bolts. But I grab this all the time now. I'm putting this battery tray in. I've got some long reach. I don't have to lean down in there. I can just put this 10mm socket on the end of this, and I can get it at an angle like this if I want. Now notice I'm not going to over torque it, because I've got that I can reach over here, do this one. And then I can turn this straight, go down deep in here and use it like a screwdriver. Of course, if you're using it like a screwdriver, you don't have to worry about the over torquing, but it does ratchet, so it's pretty handy. Then I'll come over here and do this one, and if I've got a really tight spot to get into, I can choke up on it like this. I find that I am grabbing this more and more, especially when I'm working in and around the engine compartment. Okay, the battery tray is finally back into Fritz. Let's head back to the machine shop. Look at this. You're going to say, Kent, you still working on ignition lock assemblies? Yeah, that's right. We got all these apart and we're doing custom machining on them. Look at the intricacy inside each one of these steering locks. And if you look up here, you notice this is the plier rack for the Plier King. Now we have a Plier King here who likes to make unique pliers for every job at hand. Let me introduce you to the Plier King. Every Saturday I'm checking, testing, inspecting, checking some more. Anybody want to guess what these parts are for? I'm in the process of sourcing a special replacement O-ring for these shafts that's going to hold up much better than the originals.
See, I saved you another $65 right there.
How much?
65 just by cutting that. I saved you $65 more.
Oh, Jerson's over here telling me, hey, Kent, look at this. I'm going to save you $65. What we're doing is we're cutting down this ring here so we get more use out of the wire wheel. This is fun. We're always finding new ways to use our lathe and milling machine. Take a close look here. This is how we get maximum use out of our very expensive wire wheels. This is called the Dutch method of maximum tool. This is called the Dutch method of maximum tool. This is called the Dutch method of maximum tool utilization. So you're wondering what I'm doing with these stainless steel fender washers? Look at this. We take these in the shop and we bend them. Isn't that a funny looking bend? But they serve a very unique purpose. Let me take you out to the shop right now and I'm going to show you where I'm going to use these. I've got Fritz's battery tray cleaned up and recoated with Miracle Paint. Take a quick look at what it looked like before I started on this repair. Now we're going to set the battery in it and you're going to find out what those washers are used for. I would have to say in well over half of the W123 and W126 chassis Mercedes I see, this is what I run into. When I look at the battery and look into the battery tray area, I find a battery that is not anchored down. Now this isn't particularly wise to do this. It is possible for that battery to jump around and short out. And it should be held down with some clamps. Now there are some problems. Number one and foremost is those original metal clamps rust very badly and get corroded. And you can also bust these studs off the battery tray due to rust. But we've come up with a solution. I hate those original clamps, and I decided the only way to come up with a clamp that can survive in this moist environment next to a lead acid battery is to use stainless steel. So we've taken and made these special stainless steel brackets that will mount in the original position like that and clamp that battery down tight. We also include in the kit stainless steel locking nuts, so the nuts will not rust, nor will those washers rust that are going to hold that battery in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down and you can see what these look like once they're installed. And look at that, I'll just use my favorite tool of the week to go ahead and tighten these down. Now all you need to do, because these nuts lock, you just need to snug these down. You don't need to over tighten them or you can break that stud off. Okay, there you have it, look at that. That battery is going nowhere and those hold down plates will never rust. You can see I've rolled my 1994 300 CE Coupe into the shop today and I'm getting it ready to sell. Now I know right away you're going to think, well, Kent, what's wrong? Why are you selling all this stuff? You know, are you going to quit? Or are you ill? No, that's not the case, okay? I have no plans of retiring. But I do have to face some realities. I know my older brother warned me, says, Kent, when you turn 72, you're going to notice a big difference. And this is a couple years ago, you know, I'm chuckling. And of course, I'm going to be 72 this year, and I'm beginning to notice a slight drop in horsepower. Maybe more than just a slight drop in horsepower. After a point, you just can't take care of all these older cars. They all need attention and love. As you well know, any of you car collectors will know such is the case. But I started thinking about which cars I would begin to part with now, and I decided to sell my two white coupes. Yes, that's right. I want to try to sell them together to a collector enthusiast who can really appreciate the high build quality and the collectability of these mid-90s Mercedes coupes. Now my other one, of course, is the V12, the S600 coupe. That's a 1995 model, has just a little over 100,000 miles on it. This one here is a 94 model, has 115,000 original miles. So both of these cars are very collectible and they will appreciate in value. These will be the Mercedes collector cars of the future from the mid-1990s. I absolutely guarantee it. So anyone having a pair of these would be an immediate collector. An immediate, serious enthusiast, okay? But I'm not going to go over all the details. I'll put a link in the description of this video that'll take you to my website. I'll have to work on the descriptions, but these two cars together look really cool. They really do. Look at them from the front quarter. Now look at them from the side. and from the rear quarter. And look at the details of the pillarless designs on the roofs. And then, of course, all you have to do is look at the interiors. Just look at the interiors of both of them. Obviously, the S600 is a much more elaborate interior, but look at the condition of the interior in the 300 Coupe, that gray leather. No, it's not MBTEX, it's genuine leather. And there's not even any serious wear spots on the driver's seat where it normally wears, where people get in and out of the car. That shows you how well these cars have been taken care of. And I've done a lot of things on these cars. What I'm going to do is put links. I'll have a playlist for each one of these cars. And if you're serious, you can look at the playlist. It'll take you through a lot of videos I've done on these cars over the last 3 or 4 years and kind of give you an idea of the condition. And you can see even here, this is one of my all-time favorite designs in Mercedes-Benz. I would rank this right up to the top 5. It just has that timeless design. First came into the US market in 1988. That's a long time ago. But it still goes down the road and keeps up with modern traffic, and it draws attention wherever you drive it. And of course, the S600, that's a no-brainer. People just see that V12 and their eyes just bug out. All you have to do, I put people in the passenger seat of the S600, and I get in, close the doors, and then I start the engine. I say, can you tell whether the engine's running? And they get this look on their face like, no, I think it quit. I'm going to spend the rest of the day today here in the shop, and I'm just going to kind of go over this. I want to check everything over, make sure everything is working. I haven't driven this a lot in the last year, but I got out into the storage building and she just fired right up. You know, once again, I love my battery tenders, okay? Just love those battery tenders. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I'm going to head off tonight to an art walk with my wife, Linda. Have a good week, everyone. In this 220, W220 alert, video alert, I want to talk about cabin air filters. Now, those have only been in there 2 years. Look at that. That's just 2 years.
Yeah, we replaced those, didn't we?
Yeah.
My goodness.
So people think, oh, I just stick them in there, good for 5, 10 years, 20 years. No, it isn't.
Wow.
And what happens is your defrost doesn't work as well. And also, I've seen they get so bad they can wear out your, the dirt starts to get through the filter, it wears out your motor. Goodness.